Okay, so get this. Deep inside your bones, right now, there's this microscopic factory running 24/7. It is one of the most incredible, non-stop processes in the entire biological world. And in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on it. So, what's going on in there? Let's dive in and take a look inside. Just look at this number, 2 million. That's about how many new red blood cells your body is making every single second. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around, right? In the time it took me to just say that sentence, your body's already cranked out tens of millions of new cells. It's just staggering. And that, of course, leads to the big question, the central mystery of our story. Where on earth does this endless supply come from? How does your body manage this incredible feat of constant manufacturing without ever running out of parts? Well, the answer lies in a process that's as elegant as it is powerful. Let's uncover it. All right, so to really get into this, we first need to put a name to the process. Welcome to the heart of the operation, what we're calling the body's blood factory. So the official name for this whole operation is hematopoiesis, and it's not just some fancy word. It actually tells you exactly what it does. It comes from two Greek words, hema, which means blood, and poiesis, which means to produce, and that's literally it. The vital, lifelong process of making every single red blood cell, white blood cell, and platelet in your body. This whole thing kicks off when we're just embryos, and believe it or not, it never stops for your entire life. Okay, so every great factory needs a boss, right? A CEO? Who's running this whole show? Well, amazingly, the answer comes down to a single, truly heroic type of cell. Well, say hello to the hematopoietic stem cell, or HSC for short. This is it. This is the single ancestor, the one master cell that gives rise to every single blood cell you have. We're talking trillions of them. It is the absolute cornerstone of this entire system. So what makes this cell so special? Well, it basically has two incredible superpowers. First up, you've got self-renewal. This is its ability to just make perfect copies of itself. It's like a biological photocopier, making sure you never, ever run out of the original blueprint. And then you've got its other superpower, differentiation. This is the magic part. It's the power to transform and mature into any type of blood cell the body needs, whether it's carrying oxygen or fighting off an infection. But wait a second. How does an HSC even know what to become? It's not just random, right? It doesn't happen in a vacuum. It actually needs a very specific environment, kind of like a training ground, that tells it exactly what role it needs to play at any given moment. Right. That special environment is called the bone marrow niche. You can think of it like the headquarters, or the command center for this whole process. This is the tiny microenvironment where these stem cells live and get all their instructions for what to do and what to become. And inside this niche, it's a bustling neighborhood. You've got all these key players. There are specialized cells that provide physical structure, a complex matrix that's kind of like scaffolding, and this is the really cool part. You have these chemical messengers called cytokines and growth factors. These are basically the text messages, the little instruction manuals, telling the stem cells to divide, what to turn into, or even just to hang out and stay put for now. Now, what's really fascinating is that this niche isn't just one big blob. It's actually split into two very different zones. You've got the endostele niche, which is basically the quiet zone. It's where the stem cells can lay low, stay dormant, and preserve their power for the long haul. And then there's the vascular niche, which is the go zone, right up against the blood vessels. This is where the action happens. It's where the stem cells get activated and mobilized when the body signals that it needs new cells and it needs them now. Okay, so let's say a stem cell gets the signal. It's in the go zone, it's activated, now what? Well, its descendants have to make a huge decision. They have to commit to one of two major family trees or lineages, which will then lead to all the different types of blood cells we have. And here are those two big families. You can think of them as the two main departments in our blood factory, the myeloid line and the lymphoid line. Over on the myeloid side, you get your red blood cells for carrying oxygen, your platelets for clotting blood, and those first responder immune cells like neutrophils. Then you have the lymphoid side. This is where you get the real special forces of your immune system, the T cells, the B cells that produce antibodies, and those surveillance experts, the natural killer cells. You know, for most of us, for most of our lives, this whole factory runs so smoothly in the background, we don't even know it's there. But its true importance really hits home when things go wrong, when the whole system breaks down. So what if the factory's production line for red blood cells starts to slow down or falter?
Well, that's when you get conditions like anemia. It's basically a supply chain issue at a cellular level. Without enough of those oxygen carrying cells, the body just feels constantly exhausted.
And then you can have the exact opposite problem, which can be just as devastating. Cancers like leukemia. That's when the factory goes into complete overdrive. It starts pumping out massive quantities of abnormal white blood cells, and they just crowd out all the healthy cells, disrupting the entire delicate balance of the system. And that really brings us full circle. This whole incredible, intelligent system, this factory inside you, runs almost flawlessly for a lifetime, replenishing trillions and trillions of cells, all starting from one single type of cell. It really makes you think, doesn't it? What does that tell us about the power, the sheer potential that can come from a single powerful starting point? Something to ponder.